Hi everyone, it's your girl Saba. YouTube tells me it's been 7 days since I posted my last long form video, so here we go. I get to, I get to make another one. I just wanted this to be about those who have multiple passions. And I'll preface this by saying that I didn't fall into art by chance or anything. Yeah, my trajectory of career has been like this. I graduated high school, I got into medical college. I dropped out of medical college after a few months because of a manic episode and diagnosis of bipolar. Then I spent months just at home and then a few months, like at least just 2 months at an art school in my city. And then I went back into the rat race and started applying for medical colleges again. So there's a test back in Pakistan that you do for medical college admission. It is called MCAT, I think. Yeah. So you have to give the MCAT and you have to prepare for it really intensively. So it wasn't going well because obviously I got diagnosed with bipolar and I was taking medication, and on top of that I had to study. I was putting this pressure on myself, I guess, like I was the one putting this pressure on myself. I didn't know what else to do. I thought I will try to get into a medical college again, and if not medical, I would get into a dental college. And I tried. I studied hard like anything. I couldn't study well enough because of the medication side effects, and as a result, I ended up passing the MCAT and I scored, but I barely scored like at the end of 50 and at the beginning of 60%, something like 62%, but it was enough to get me into a dental college, so I tried going to the dental college. But everyone was telling me, "Oh, I'm so happy for you. You're starting a new page in life after all that happened and all that." And I was like, yeah, but inside I was like, something doesn't feel right, about the dental college. Maybe I shouldn't be doing it. I actually did have something in me tell me that I shouldn't be doing it, but my ingrained conditioning was so bad in the sense that I had to be doing something. I couldn't sit at home and just do nothing. In our society, in our culture, there's this stigma surrounding the fact that you just can't sit at home and do nothing, because if you're doing that, then you're doing nothing with your life. And there's a big stigma around that, and there's barely any concept of play and entertainment or spending leisure time and enjoying your life because of our ancestors' trauma and our parents' trauma of, you know, getting by. And so it gets ingrained in us, I guess. It got ingrained in me. I'm the second last child, so one of the middle childs, and I put too much pressure on myself and my personality as well. So I ended up in the dental college, and I spent around a scholar year or less than that over there. Every time there would be a viva, every time there would be an assessment or test, I would, I would fail, and I would, there would be a result sheet. Yeah, I would get, I wouldn't even get the middle, I would get to the bottom. I would score a 0. Egg. I made a record in that though, so I'm proud of it. I mean, people would say it's nothing to be proud of, but at least I'm proud of that because honestly, I'm proud of that because I didn't have the capacity. So I showed up as much as I could, but if I couldn't score even 1% or one mark in my exams, it was okay. Everything works out in the grand scheme of things. Everything turns out okay. But back then, I was dying inside of shame. Everyone, from my classmates to my friends, they saw all the results and they were looking at me. And I guess the ones that were looking at me like judgmentally weren't really my true friends. But whatever, who cares? Um. So what happened was that by the time summer rolled around and we were about to have our profs and supposed to be preparing for our first year profs at the dental college, it was Ramadan, and I remember we were at home in Islamabad, and we were preparing for Ramadan, and I just couldn't take it. So I started trying to, like, I mean, like, ask God, like, is there better out there? Like, what is this what my life amounts to? I mean, I can't deal with this. Like, I'm so miserable. Every time I go to sleep, I wish that I don't wake. Every single night I go to sleep, I wish with all my might that I don't wake up the next day. So I was like, is that all that there's to it? Like asking God and all that. Anyhow, then eventually what happened was that I moved to Paris, and that was because my dad got transferred for his work. Alhamdulillah. And my I wasn't moving with my family originally. No, I was staying put. I had to finish my dental college, remember? No, so I was searching for hostels, I was searching for boarding schools and all that. And then I decided to call this uncle that I have, and I really trust this uncle. He's very special to me, and he's like a mentor and a guide, and his advice is really great. So I asked him, what do I do? I cannot find a hostel to stay in, and I don't know what to do with my life and all that stuff. And he was like, to be honest, I'll tell you, you have to move to Paris. You should move to France with your parents. You shouldn't stay back in Pakistan. And it hit me that he had a reason. Why am I forsaking my life, and my family will move away, and I will be without them, and I will be miserable like that, and trying to make it in dental college just for the sake of my career? There's more. There must be more to life than that, or is there? So I decided to move to France with my parents, and well, the France part is a story of its own. There are different chapters in my whole life story, and there's different books in my life as well. So I wouldn't say that everything resolved automatically when I moved to France, but it was much, much better. I got to breathe. I got to breathe, because I always had this pressure of studies on my mind. And but you know what? When I came to France, I didn't allow myself to relax. The same year I came, I started enrolling in French classes, and I started learning French. So for 1 year, I studied French, and I got to B1 or B2 level almost. And then you know what I did? I started applying to medical colleges. Oh God, why someone? Why, like, my current self was like, why someone? Why? Why are you going back into the trenches? She started applying to medical colleges, but this time in French and all that. Filling out my application. I still have some of my applications that, well, I still fill my applications. I visited dental colleges, I visited medical colleges, explore different options. And I gave the TCF, if I'm not wrong, it's called the TCF. That's the Connaissance de Français. And I got B1, and I was supposed to get B2. I was really at the how do you say, parameter. Like, I was almost in B2, but I didn't make it to B2. I got classified as B1, and that's why I didn't get accepted into medical and dental colleges in France, and I'm thankful for that now. 10 years later, but not before. I'm thankful in totality. I'm grateful right now. So if you have things going on in your life, take this as a sign that 10 years later, you'll be thanking God, or whatever you believe in. You'll be thanking your life, that it didn't work out. So I didn't pass the medical test, or I didn't even get to the part of the medical test. I just didn't fulfill the requirements of the language. So then basically what I did was, I had an idea was well, the idea was that I used to doodle a lot in my classes in French school, and also before in high school, and always, I used to doodle a lot. And a lot of my friends would tell me, you're so good at art, why don't you apply to a art school or a design school or something like that? So I explored. I went to École des Beaux-Arts, I visited, but the vibe of the École des Beaux-Arts was so daunting and competitive to me. I was like, I will not thrive here, I think. So I decided to go for something industrial, great, that has a career in terms of art, I guess, which is design, graphic design. I applied to a school in Paris. I got accepted. I was bubbly at the interview and all that. And I was bubbly because I wasn't taking my meds back then. And I was quite like on top of the world. And I don't recommend you not taking the meds for whatever reason. You should never quit your medications cold turkey. Learn from me. Learn from me. Okay, I'll tell you what. So I was bubbly at the interview and all that, and I got accepted in the design school. I showed her my portfolio, which had all the paintings that I had done, and she said they're really good, but you need to work on the contrast and lighting, which I agree. I still agree to this day, and I can still make that better. But then I got accepted, and I started doing the school, but it became really tough because of the requirements of the assessments and all that. Let me tell you another thing about our schools in France. We have we have live drawing classes, So it was a cultural shock for me. I was like, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. After every live drawing class, I was telling I was asking the teacher, and I was no, I was debating with the teacher, why is it essential to draw someone naked. And they were like, well, the human body is the most difficult thing to draw. That's why we give classes on human anatomy and all that, right? And I was like, can I just draw the person? But like, I'm seeing the person right now, right? But can I draw it? But I'll draw with the clothes on. But they were like, you'll lose the purpose because you need to keep the proportions in mind and all that. And after every of those live drawing classes, I would go down into the toilets and I would have a breakdown because I would think that God is going to send me to hell for doing live drawing classes and drawing people naked. Well, that was my conditioning. So what came it eventually. I started doing the life drawing classes. Like in the second year I was better at it because I got used to it. It was a new culture, like when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So that was what I was doing. Second year, but at the end of first year, I passed. It was a foundation year in arts, and I told my parents that I don't want to continue. I don't see myself doing graphic design because that is more like sitting on their computer and doing art, like doing this design. Like, I don't see myself doing it. I told them I want to make videos on YouTube where I paint and all that. But my parents said that we think you should do your degree, you should finish your degree, and it will make your life easier. So that's what I set out to do. And so first year passed, it was good. Second year passed, it was good. But third year, I didn't pass my bachelor's in one go. Like something happened that kind of set me back, and yeah, it was deeply impacting. So what I did after that was like I enrolled into another design school because I didn't want the memories of the previous design school to haunt me, or like not even haunt me, but like I just wanted a change of air. Like, so I applied to another design school and I got in, and I spent a year there and I got a diploma in design. It was more so in infographics, yeah. Infographics and other graphics, like more like visual communication, art and design and packaging and all that. And so this was my redemption arc in a way because I had failed my last year of design school and I couldn't bear that because previously I had failed in life, like in the dental school, but this failure was very like shocking to me, and it wasn't my fault at all. I know that because the things that happened and that led to it weren't my fault. It was like my supposed future got snatched from my hands. But I didn't give up. I continued at the other design school that I went to for the diploma, and I ended up getting my diploma with like a special mention from jury, and and the second highest grade, and so honors in a way, yeah, like in not in a way, honors. I passed with honors, but that was the pandemic, and I didn't have a ceremony. And you know why I wanted to have this degree or whatever? And I had an image in my mind of the destination always. I would go on the stage, I'll get my degree, and I'll be so happy. But I forgot that the process of itself, I forgot to enjoy it as much because of my fixation on the outcome, on the degree, getting the degree. And as a result of that, I think maybe I don't know if it's as a result of that or it's just a pandemic for everyone, that I didn't get a ceremony and I had to go with a mask and a separate day in summer and get my degree by hand from the reception. I know it's silly because a lot of people don't even care about graduation ceremonies, but I'm not that person. I used to care a lot about graduation ceremonies and I wanted to have a proper one, but I didn't get it. So it's okay. I made do with it. It was like a grief that I was like dealing with. But I was happy at least I passed and with honors. So then the next challenge was to get a job. So I applied to jobs and all that. Also, I also did some internship back in the day and I applied to jobs, but I got to the interview stage, but I didn't pass them for some reason. So what I did, like what I always do, use studies as a crutch, enroll in the next program for graphic design, this time another university, and decide to complete my bachelor's because I told myself maybe it's the fact that you don't have a bachelor's that you're not getting the job. It's because they don't want people with just associates parading out there in their with their employee badge or whatever. So I I I enrolled again in and I completed my bachelor's. To cut it short, I completed it. But was I happy? I did have a graduation ceremony as well this time around, but was I happy? No, not really. Not at all, actually. Because that last year of the last year, the bachelor's that I did, it was the third year of a program that people were already enrolled in, okay? And I was in it. And I was in it and when I submitted my final project in it, right? Okay? And it got rejected and that took a toll on me and my mental health was already in shambles by then because of years of studying and burnout and bipolar and all that and trying to high achieve and all that. So I lost it at one point and in the summer I got hospitalized and there's also a video on this channel in which I'm in the hospital and that's related to that part of my life. And that hospitalization happened because even though I was taking my medications for my bipolar, I was basically taking antidepressant and a mood stabilizer, probably, I think. Yeah. But it wasn't working. The antidepressant ended up making me quite manic and ruining my mental health. And so I got hospitalized for medication non compliance. I was like, here we go, another trip to the mental hospital in my life. Anyhow, I got out of it. I gained a lot of weight. And apart from the weight, it was just a lot of mental fatigue and strain. And I don't know how to tell you. People get weird as well. So, but it's my story and I get to tell it. So, well, yeah, I left. I got discharged and I hadn't finished my final project. I changed it to UX UI instead of what I was originally proposing, which was my poetry book, illustrations, and all that. It got rejected really badly and had a bad impact on me. So I changed my subject to UX UI solely because I loved the UX UI and coding teacher, and he was amazing. So I changed it to UX UI project and I made an application. I designed an application for meditation, self care, yoga, and journaling, and all that stuff, and also for like calming music. So I designed that and I presented that. But because of my hospitalization in the summer, I didn't get to present it in the summer jury. So thankfully, they gave me a chance to present it again or to send it again by September. But when I got out of the hospital, my body was aching from head to toe, and I didn't know how to work on my project or how to resume my project. It was hell. I was in pain. My mind was foggy, and I had this work in front of me on Figma. I had to finish the application and the wireframing and the final iterations of it. I tried to do work every day. I didn't try to tax myself too much. So what I did was every day I would spend an hour or at least 30 minutes, whatever I could afford on it. And slowly, as September came, I somehow finished the project. Maybe not as well as I wanted to, but I did finish it. And that's how I qualified for my bachelor's and got my degree. And the jury, well, I got the jury notes afterwards, and two people gave me 14, one gave me 13 out of 20, and the fourth one gave me 12 out of 20. Well, I don't mind. I don't care. This doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Who cares? What, like, it's easy for the critics to give you marks, and they don't even know what the story or what's going on behind, like, so I did a great job considering what I was going through and what I had gone through. I passed my bachelor's. Okay. Then I did an internship for like 3 months in graphic design, but I didn't end up getting hired for that job. So the next year I decided to apply for other jobs, and what I did was that I got this job in customer service, so I took it, and then I got really burned out by that job, and really really burned out. And mhm, since then my ID card expired, and I obviously applied for a renewal application, the French ID card. Since the past 2 years I've been waiting on my ID card renewal decision. It's not here yet. I do have a valid document that allows me to live and work here, but that's another thing. And yeah, I have been in a purgatory since 2023 or 4, but well, that's life. And this video was supposed to be about those with multiple passions. So hear me out. How does this relate to you? Like, this whole trajectory that I've narrated to you, like, currently I'm focusing on my art. I'm writing, I'm focusing on my art, I'm writing as well, and then I am also acting. The things that you're meant to do will find you. They will knock on your door, in your through your intuition, through your sixth sense, in here and in here and in your heart. Okay, what you gotta do is listen and follow that nudge. Okay, if it's multiple things, it doesn't matter. Find time to do multiple things. I'm not saying spend a day and do every single thing that you're interested in, like crocheting, painting, gardening, woodworking. No, I'm not asking you to do that. I'm saying you can make a schedule. Like, even though for me, I'm a person that schedules don't work for me. I go with the flow. But I do have a general idea. Like, I make a to-do list for every day. Like, I made a to-do list for today. I had to clean the apartment. I did that. I had to paint. I did that. I am working on a painting, a really beautiful landscape, and it's a landscape based on something I saw last summer in near Marseille, like cliffs of Marseille, Lake Good, and I'm working on that. Maybe will show you a clip here or so, and my next art vlog is gonna be on that, so stay tuned. And then I also set two to three to 2 to 3 to 4 things every day in your to-do list, depending on your capacity. You don't have to do everything one day at once. Then there will be nothing to look forward to in the coming days if you get done with everything. And if you have multiple interests, foster them, set them ablaze, like light the passion fire, light the fire, and let them burn. Let them burn in your heart and your body and your soul, and let that be the reason why you flow. You reach the state of flow in your work, and you bridge the gaps between different professions in a way that no one has ever done before. Why? So they say, Jack of all trades, master of none is oftentimes better than Jack of all trades, master of none is oftentimes better than master of one, or something like that. Oftentimes better than. I'm not saying just generalize or abandon all your projects or anything like that. But there's certain phases in life you have to give yourself grace. Sometimes you won't be able to focus, and you won't be able to give your 100% to each and every single project. So decide which percentage you're gonna give, but don't try to give 100% all the time, because then you're gonna burn out. Try to do it one step at a time, slowly, one day at a time, and one moment at a time, and 1 second at a time, or 1 hour, 1 minute at a time, and see where it takes you. So if you feel like you have multiple passions and you feel like you're broken or lost, let me tell you, the world is not made for us, in the sense that it doesn't cater to those with multiple passions. It doesn't, yeah, that's how the capitalistic society is, unfortunately. But if you follow those nudges, if you follow those passions, it can take you somewhere only barely like 10% of the people out of the world have seen those places. Like if you let them lead you, and if you keep working on them, and never giving up on them, never ever giving up on them. But there's certain things you'll have to let go of, maybe. For me, that first thing was maybe design. Even though I use design in my thumbnails and other aspects of my life, I'm finding it hard to relate to it or like to find joy in it. So I have to take a step back from it, and that's fine. That's human. You change, we pivot, at different stages in our life. I can't expect myself, just because graduated in graphic design, I can't expect myself to be working in graphic design my whole life. No, this is too much of limitation. There's so much more to life than that. There's so much exploration to be had. There's so many foods to eat, people to meet. Oh, there's so much in store for you. So if you have multiple passions, keep going, keep going, keep feeding them and never giving up on them, And don't let anyone tell you that your passions are futile. Don't let anyone do that. That's all I gotta say. Welcome to my TED Talk. I'll see you in my next video. That's all I have to say. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much. Bye.